Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Mike of Kings. I've decided to start a little channel here for some Pokemon Go stuff. Give you a little bit of insight on what I've kind of wanted to do and what my goal is for this channel. I'm not going to be the same as sort of the other guys. I will tell you that most of my inspiration came from guys like John Plays and FSU ATL. Um, but what I'm going to do is a little bit differently than what these guys are doing. Basically, I just started spoofing a while back, maybe a couple of months ago. I've got myself an Android device and I've got myself an iPhone as well. And what I'm going to do basically is I'm gonna try and do both of those as well as playing organically still, and let you guys know kind of what's better, which apps to use, which ones I find work best for just getting the most fun out of your sort of Pokemon Go experience. So basically today what we're going to do is I'm using my main account, and as you can see I've got a little seal of approval thing down here in the corner so I don't get banned for today. But basically what we're doing is they just dropped the new Growlithe shiny. So we're going to do a little bit of shiny hunting for that today, and hopefully I can find something. And I'll kind of explain to you the differences that I've sort of had with my gameplay going from being organic to what I'm doing now, which is, to be very honest, mostly spoofing. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know which one is better, which one is obviously spoofing is going to have a big advantage here because you can kind of go everywhere in the world and spoof and get your stuff really quick. But I'll also give you a little bits of my opinions on what I think Niantic should do to change its setup and so on and so forth. What I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to actually start two brand new accounts. So I'm going to start one on Android, and I'm going to start one with Apple iOS devices as well. And basically what I'll do is I'll be trying to find some friends, do some trading. We'll be doing a lot of shiny hunting and doing a lot of events and things like that. And with these two lower level accounts that I do start up in the next coming days, I'll just use them as sort of trading and just sort of trying to gather all of the Pokemon. As you can see from like the just from the description of the thing, this is just going to go a brand new account spoofing, letting you know which one is better. I do know that there are some people out there that do have the donations thing. You definitely don't have to do that. I'm not going to be forcing that on anybody, but hopefully you will click subscribe and all of those kind of things that everyone else tries to get you to do. A little bit of a disclaimer though, if you do decide to donate something, all of the donations that I receive on this channel will definitely go back into actually making the channel a little bit better. It'll go into the gameplay, it'll go into the actual accounts that I use in order to you know, get more items, you know, those types and sorts of things. So basically what we're going to do is we got some coordinations here for a Growlithe nest. So we're going to do a little bit of Growlithe hunting here today. So this is my Android. This is my main account. I won't be using this one very often for spoofing because this is more my organic account. So basically this one is a higher level, level 37-ish. It's been, for the most part, organic. I've been very fortunate. I have been able to travel a lot. But basically my time zone is going to be a little bit different than most. I am based out of Asia, Taipei, Taiwan. And most of the time when I spoof, it will be into Japan for the most part. So we'll be doing a lot of spoofing in and out of Japan and things like that for the most part, because I think Japan is one of the best places in the world to play. So basically what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to go around and we're going to do some Growlithe hunting and see what we can come up with. Again, another really big shout out to guys like John Plays and of course the You should call him the Godfather, even though he's probably half my age. FSUATL. It's those guys that kind of got me, gave me the sort of motivation to kind of do this sort of channel. I like the way that they have their setup, and again, there's a lot of people that do spoof, which again I have no problems with. I didn't have problems with it when I was organic, and I understood why most people would spoof. Um, it can be an extremely frustrating game when all you're really doing is catching garbage. So I'll give you a little bit of insight. I started playing Pokemon Go when it first launched here in Taipei, and it was I can find the actual date. I just don't want to show my screen name on here, so I don't get in any trouble for this. But I basically started the day that it dropped. I think it was October something or other, October 16th, a couple of years back, and I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I never was before. I kind of just got into it just to see what it was like, what all the fuss was about. And it's a pretty easy game to kind of really get into and enjoy. I mean, I didn't know most of the characters and those kind of things. I do now. I know a little bit more now than I did before. Um, but it was one of those games where it was just easy to kind of get into and really enjoy. Um, so the more I played it, the more I obviously got into it and really enjoyed playing it. Um, uh, learning about the new Pokemon and what their sets and all that kind of stuff is really neat and interesting. I found most of the characters just sort of I don't know. I guess you could just say cute. I guess, but for me, it was just more of along the lines of like just seeing what the hype was about. So, the first day that it launched, me and my wife, yes, I'm married, were down in a city in Taiwan called Kaohsiung. It's the south of Taiwan, and Taiwan's a small island. It's only about 6 hours from tip to tip type thing. But we were down in Kaohsiung, and I was super excited about the game when it launched because when we both installed it on our phones, me and my wife, and we were walking around. We were actually visiting some friends in Kaohsiung, so we were all around. But within that first day, I had walked, like legitimately walked, about 12 to 13 kilometers in the day. Um, so for the first 3 or 4 days that I was playing Pokemon Go, I did the same sort of thing. I was really into it. Like it just sort of took over sort of my life. So I was waking up in the morning and I was heading out to walk around and catch all these different Pokemon. And it was really fun at the beginning because there were so many new ones and so many cool ones that you could actually go and I'd never seen before. Um, I think it was the third day that I was out and about um, playing around with Pokemon Go legitimately organically. I had ran into a couple of guys that were playing as well, a couple of local Taiwanese guys. And this was my first ever indication about how the game needed some improvements. Um, so the first thing for me was I had met these guys and I legitimately walked in 2 days about 25 kilometers. So, like I said, I had actually taken the game and played it quite intensely. I was playing it like for real, like playing it like walking around, trying to catch all the Pokemon. At the time, I don't think they had the walk two steps, so you were literally just sort of like wandering around trying to catch certain Pokemon. Again, which was fine and great, and I really enjoyed that part of it. But at the same time, it was one of those things where I probably just showed my I'm assuming I just showed my account name. Oh, maybe not. But anyway, the first realization that I had that the game was really broken is that I had legitimately walked around 25 kilometers in 2 days, and I had caught numerous amounts of Pokemon, of course. But I had met these two guys that were sitting in a 7-Eleven, and they were also playing it. I mean, the game took the entire country here by storm. I mean, it was everywhere. Everyone was playing it. Everyone was doing it. It was insane. It was completely and utterly insane. And I remember walking through and kind of chatting with these guys, and we sort of looked at each other's um, accounts to see what the other person had, and so on and so forth, and all this kind of stuff. So as we were doing that, I I had seen that they had more than double the amount of Pokemon that I had caught. And I couldn't figure out how this was even possible because I had legitimately walked around for 25 kilometers or whatever it was over the past days, and I didn't leave any Pokemon uncaught type thing. So as I was walking around, I was asking like, how the heck did you guys get so many um, Pokemon on your account so fast? And it just so happened that they lived right underneath uh, a gym. Or it wasn't even a gym, I guess at that point. It was just a Pokestop. And they lived right underneath this Pokestop. And the Pokestop, because it was so insane, they could just constantly lure it. So they would sit there and lure it, and they were catching 200 Pokemon an hour type thing. Which I was like, how the hell is that even fair for anybody? Because near my place, there's recently now just been put a gym just kind of behind me here. But when I first started, there was only one Pokestop that was anywhere within sort of walking distance from me. Um, so I was kind of just like, well, that's just unfortunate. So then I realized that most of the people that I ran into that were actually catching them at extreme rates were kind of sitting in groups of the Pokestops, just sort of having them all lured up and then just grabbing as many lured um, Pokemon as they possibly could. So knowing that, you have to kind of change your strategy, and I get why Niantic sort of did that. But when I first started playing Pokemon Go, I literally thought it was like the more you walk, the more you get out, the more you'll catch, the better you'll be. Because I was under this, I get this false sort of impression that, oh shit, maybe I'm like the #1 Pokemon guy for the first 3 days or something like that because I was walking around so much and catching so many Pokemon. But yeah, that wasn't really the case. I guess it was more sort of you have to be, if you're lucky enough to be in a place that has like a couple Pokestops that have a few people in there that are luring the Pokestops, you'll be able to catch so many more Pokemon. So anyway, I kept grinding, I kept playing, which is pretty normal. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it because catching all the new Pokemon was always fun. Um, Here's a question for you guys. Anybody who's actually been playing this game for quite some time, what was your hardest Pokemon at the start to catch? I had a real hard time catching Zubat for the first time. It's like every time I would try to, it would come up on the radar or the screen. I just couldn't catch it. It just kept breaking out of the eggs and running away. Out of the balls, I guess, not the eggs. But anyway, uh, if anybody does end up watching this video, post in the comments, and it'll be kind of a funny thing to see what your hardest Pokemon to catch was. So anyway, and then they introduced after quite a bit of time, Niantic introduced the gyms and the gym battles and all that kind of thing, and I would play the game every day, sort of to and from walking to work. And one of the big advantages that you have living where I live is that everybody literally drives a scooter. So like everyone can just jump on a scooter and drive around with Pokemon Go open, and you can actually get hatch your eggs a lot faster and do those sort of things a lot faster. But what I was finding is this is sort of when the gyms sort of came out is what I sort of realized why spoofing would become more important. Um, Almost all the Pokemon that I ever caught at the beginning of the game were all weak IV, low CP sort of Pokemon. And at the beginning, there was nothing to really do except collect them, right? So, I mean, all I did was just grind and grind and grind, caught as many Pokemon as I can, and every time I seen a different one, I was really excited about it. I had, like I had even planned weekends where I went to the zoo, or I'd sort of been all the way around and sort of all over the place and these type of things, right? So for me, it was it was a lot of fun to just be out and around and finding the new Pokemon. But then you're finding guys that were out there and they're like, especially when the gyms came out, you'd have guys that had really, really strong Pokemon, and you're wondering like, how the hell am I supposed to get these Pokemon? So you learn about, you know, evolving them and training them and making them stronger. But if your IVs aren't as strong, obviously you're not getting the better Pokemon, right? So for me, it was sort of a realization of like, okay, so I get why. And then of course, being on YouTube, I ended up started watching some videos from. I actually started off with Jono Plays, um, who does a really good job, by the way. I think he's one of the more fun guys out there to watch when he's playing. He gets pretty excited about all the Pokemon that he catches and stuff like that. So that's a cool thing. Um, I mean, I don't get overly excited for any of the really Pokemon that I catch. I mean, if I catch a shiny Growlithe here today, that'd be great. Oh, that reminds me too. I'll put the cords to where I am in the description here in a minute. But yeah, this is just a Growlithe nest. So I'm hoping that I can just snag a Growlithe. I was in Japan for the Yokosuka event here earlier this week as well. Um, Lots of trophies and things like that around, but I mean nothing super exciting. I mean we did catch a lot of shiny Wingull. I ended up with a shiny Eevee. What else was there? A shiny Eevee, a shiny Wingull, of course, which I evolved into the other bird, whatever its name is. Um, what else did I catch? That was shiny there. Oh, I got a shiny Swablu as well, which I already had from the events from before in Dortmund anyway. So, so here's the main advantage for if you're spoofing, okay? Whether you're a low-level account, which you'll see in the next coming video. The next video that I do is going to be a brand new account. So if there's anybody out there that's watching, if you guys want me to choose a certain team like the Valor or Mystic or I don't know what the other color one is, just post it up in the comments and I'll choose that team. And basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going around and trying to grind, obviously, to get to as close to the level 10 where I can start trading as possible. I'm going to catch this Toro, so because he's a beauty. Nice one to have. So like I said, if you want me to be a team Mystic or Valor, or I don't know what the other team is, the yellow ones. Yellow ones are the most annoying ones. No offense, anybody, but the yellow guys are always the ones that kind of come in late and steal all the gyms late at nighttime, so we don't get our points. But anyway, basically what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to be trying to grind stuff out and see what we can actually get and do from the see what this bad boy looks like. Yeah, decent. He will be a trader. He's going to be a trader. So yeah, basically that's what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of grinding out to see how fast we can get up to level 10 and start trading. We're going to see what kind of Pokemon we can actually start off with. Just the little tricks and tips and stuff like that. So if there's, like I said, if there's any interest in it, we'll definitely try and get some stuff going on a channel like this. So if you guys are interested and you want something to kind of play along with, someone to kind of play along with, let me know. We can grind some stuff out together. Again, most of my gym rating stuff will be in Japan or over in Asia. So if there's anybody that that wants to do any like sort of gym rating and gym grinding or anything like that, just let me know. Because we can do that stuff together. I find I'll have a map of EX raid passes in Japan and stuff like that too. A little disclaimer, because I know this is something that Jono does a lot of this, and Jono does a lot of the EX raid pass hunting, and he does get a lot of the passes for a lot of people. But the problem that I had with him was with his not him per se, but just the way that he does the videos is that we have the like I'm over here in Asia, so there's a big time difference. A big time difference between sort of where I go and what I can't do that, I guess. there's a time change in between like where I'm from in Asia and where he gets his EX raid passes from. And basically, what happens with that is that if um, if you don't change your time in your phone, and sometimes it didn't work for me either, even changing your time in your phone to make sure he, or not he, but make sure you're on the right time. Sometimes it'll even revert back and you'll lose your EX raid pass. I did get very lucky that one of the EX raid passes that I've gotten 4 with Jono, and out of the 4 that I've got, I've only had one um, where I was able to actually keep it on. I had to keep the phone in the mode for like 3 hours on the like on the spoof screens, because then for whatever reason it doesn't it then doesn't revert the time back. So with that, you have to be a little bit careful if you are like in the U.S. or if you're in um, Canada or wherever it might be. You'll have to you will have to be aware of that and not get stuck in a situation where you can't get your where you won't have your I just flashed my account. It's awesome. Sweet. Anyway, we should be back up and running here, I would imagine. Oh, maybe I didn't flash it. That's all right then. Anyway, whatever works. So anyway, we're just going to grind out some grow light stuff here. I would like to say thanks to anybody that does watch these things and who does subscribe and stuff like that, but we're basically just doing the same thing as what Jono and FSUATL do, but with a little bit of a twist. I am going to have 2 different setups for you. So I'm going to be doing Android, and I'll be doing the iPhone, iOS stuff as well. So let me just get into what I'm running here. I'm running on this phone. This is an older Note 5, and they asked you to update it here a few months back, and I just refused to update it. I didn't update anything. I just kept it with the old Google Play services and such. And I'm using GPS Go and fake GPS Go routes, and it seems to work really well. As you can see, every time I move, I do get this like the warning screen. But again, that's not really all that intrusive. It's okay. Look at that wild Wingull, sweet. That's pretty sweet. Shiny Wingull. We'll raspberry it. See if we can't snag this guy. I've got a few of these already on this account, so for me it's not super important. Getting the shiny, it's kind of nice, but yeah, so pretty much we're just going to be doing this sort of a grind. Another for the iPhone, I'm using I think it's the Union Square hack, and again I learned how to do this one from FSUATL. I just watched the video. He just actually updated a new video just a while back. Um, so as you can see, basically from the title of the video, is spoofing better? Well, clearly the best part about spoofing is that you can get anywhere. So if there's any events in Pokemon Go, and I will say this, I actually have an issue with Niantic for doing events like this, because I think that for any organic player, it's not fair for them to have events like that. I think that it should be sort of a thing where my personal opinion is that I don't think that it should be against terms of service to spoof. I think what Niantic should do is they should make an app themselves where you are allowed to spoof, but you have to pay for it. I mean, Niantic at the end of the day, all they're looking to get is money and profit shares, right? So if they were doing it the right way, where they were charging people to spoof to events that they had, like the Yokozuna one in Japan just recently, I'm pretty sure that they would be able to make their money back, because I'm sure a lot of people would pay to actually spoof to the events. And anybody who has a problem with spoofers, I can't understand why. I mean, what's the worst that they can really do? Take away 50 coins from a gym? I mean, is that it, really? To me, it's not much of an issue. I mean, it's 50 coins to get anything good in the game. I mean, if you go and you look at the shop itself, you need what 1,480 coins for anything half decent, 200 for 150 for like the what 180 for the lowest one. I mean, you still got to grind for 2 full days of being in a gym just to get a lucky egg. To me, the it's just not worth it. It's not worth complaining or whining over. I think spoofers, if anything, have helped, especially people in rural areas where they don't have enough guys to do gym raid battles with. So one of the biggest problems here in Taiwan, it's a beautiful sunny day outside. One of the biggest problems we have here in Taiwan is that if you don't get to a raid almost within the first 10 minutes, you won't get into one. It's just that simple. Like, you just will not be able to get into it. The first 10 minutes, it's got all of those guys will show up and the gym will be full, 20 guys for 2 rounds. But after that, it's done. You're standing around sort of going, oh no, what's going to happen now? And there's not going to be any people around to do any of these things with. So um, it gets it to be a situation where, yeah, you can't even do gym battles, which are kind of the only real fun part about Pokemon Go, aside from walking around and catching really cool Pokemon. The only other cool thing about it is kind of battling in gyms. I mean, that's the only real game aspect of Pokemon Go, right? Catching the rare and cool Pokemon and doing gym battles are the only real fun parts of Pokemon Go. If you're taking that one part out because you live in a rural area, you can't make it to a gym within the first 10 minutes of it, it just kind of kills a big aspect of the game. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. So I'm not going to stream too long today. I'm probably going to try and go for another at least half an hour here. Um, what I'll do here is I'll switch up. And start load up one of my other accounts. Um, I'm hoping to catch a shiny Growlithe here today, though. Hopefully, this mist seems to be okay. It's not like wicked awesome, but it's all right. Anyway, yeah, we'll see how it goes here. Let's see if we can't snag a shiny Growlithe. That'd be kind of a sweet one to grab. Um, I don't know if there. I don't think there's anything else I didn't touch on thus far. I mean, like I said, any donations and stuff that sort of come in will go directly to the channel, directly to the, like I said, me getting bigger boxes or more eggs or whatever the hell it is. But again, you definitely don't have to. I appreciate anybody who's watching. We did have 4 viewers at one point. Now it's just me, I think. So um, just the way she goes. So again, I will reiterate again. The spoofing that I'm using is called fake GPS routes. And for the iPhone, I'm using the Union Hack Square, which was done from an FSU video just a couple of days ago. Yeah, that's about it really. If you want to do any trading, this is my main account, and as you can see, my Pokédex is fairly full. I've been able to catch almost all the Pokemon that are in the game. I'm missing Celebi, but I'm on I think, level 5 of the 8 for the quest on that one. So I do have most. I do have a lot of the regionals, so if there's anybody out there that does want to make any trades, um, just send me a message and I'll add you on my friend list and we can do some trading. There's Relicanth there, which is one of the more rare ones to find. Also Tropheus, Torkoal. I have a few extra ones, so if you do want to trade any of these ones, please do let me know. So let me get back to the story of my organic grinding and why I got so frustrated with the game. So as I said, the first 3 days I had walked around and probably did, yeah, like I said, within the 3 days I was well over 40 kilometers, I think, in the 3 days of Pokemon Go. And again, I found other people that had been able to catch just so many more than me, and were um, like way ahead of me and not only that, when the gyms first started coming out too, I seen some guys that were ranked like 32 and above. And I think when the gyms were first rolled out, um, there was very few people that were able to get up near that level. I'm not sure if that was just the developers and their accounts. I don't know, but um, anyway, I just found that it was more that Niantic sort of made it more of a luck factor. Is if you lived underneath, a Pokestop or a gym, you were able to get more and a lot better spawns, which I think hurts the overall gameplay, because when you've got a lot of people that are playing it, not everyone can be under a gym, and I understand that they can't put Pokestops, at everybody's house. I understand that, but if you're unfortunate to be in a situation where you're not really close to any gyms or any Pokestops or whatever, it makes it even that much more frustrating and hard to play the game, especially if you have to walk around to get anywhere. So um, basically what I started doing from then on out is on the weekends I would head into like really popular places where a lot of people would sort of hang out and catch just more sort of um, they were all the same sort of spawns, but it was just more quantity than it was quantity, right? And then you were having like super rare spawns drop in certain places, and it was all over the news here. There was a couple guys that ended up getting hit with cars, and so they just weren't paying attention, things like that, which was, it's a different story for a different time. But I mean, it got pretty intense here for a long time, where people were um, like masses of amounts of people were going out to find Snorlax and all of these like really cool, powerful sort of Pokemon, which again was great. It got people out to certain areas and things like that. But if you weren't able to make it there, and I think the drop time was what, 15 minutes, right? When you couldn't get your drop time within 15 minutes, you just weren't getting any of the good spawns, right? You just literally wouldn't get any of the good spawns. So it makes it really tough again for anybody to um, get to those places, which again I think is fine. I like having certain people with rare Pokemon and things like that, and being rewarded for doing the right things. But it it eventually sort of evolved from like being in a certain place in your town at a certain time to having to be in a certain country at a certain time in order to get this Pokemon. And that's kind of where I think it's a little bit wrong, sort of for me. Um, I don't like the fact that we have to, like, in order to get a Celebi, we had to be in either Chicago or Japan. Because that just makes the gym. One of the biggest complaints that Pokemon has from the non-spoofing community um, is that these guys come in and they take over the gyms. They take over the gyms, and it's not fair. They're the only ones collecting the points. Well, on the same side, and the same side of the coin, or the same, you're walking the same sort of fine line, where if you are giving certain people the stronger Pokemon and they're able to stay in those gyms longer, isn't that sort of the same problem that you're running into, where you're having spoofers come in and sure they're taking down a gym, but at the same time they're having to fight tougher, harder, stronger Pokemon, and that to me makes it as unfair as a spoofer going in and using the same Pokemon to take down the same Pokemon, if that makes any sense. So, um, again, for me, it's sort of a tough. It's not easy for Niantic, and I get that. I understand that they're having a rough time, sort of trying to figure it out. But I'm a little bit sort of on board with Jono and his complaints on it when he says stuff like, "Oh, like." Um, if they had introduced PvP at the start, where you could kind of battle each other and had like a ranking system, that it would probably take spoofing out of the game. And he's probably not wrong there, for the simple fact that no one would want to jeopardize their accounts. But the way Niantic had set it up is that there was no real end game. There was no real end game for what it was. You basically just had an endless task of running around, catching Pokemon, evolving them into their bigger batter sort of selves. And then eventually came the gym battles, which again basically made it so you would try to find stronger, better IV Pokemon and do that with it, which is great and fine, but gets really boring really fast. So then they brought in the EX raid passes where you can get the better Pokemon like Mew and Mewtwo and all that kind of stuff. But again, that's even the way that they set that up. It was certain gyms in certain places. So I know people now that have 30 or 40 Mewtwo's, which to me is just absolutely crazy. Like I understand that they have their way to get it, but it should have been sort of a limited thing or a thing where, again, if Niantic wanted was smart, they would have just been like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have like, you want Mewtwo, we'll set up raids. You pay $1. Sure, you have to go to that gym and you have to raid pass or whatever, but at the same time, once you get that raid pass, it's going to cost you $1 to actually enter it, and then it at least makes it sort of a little bit more beneficial for them. And it shouldn't be select gyms; it just should be any gyms. Because I mean, I think I'm sitting. Hopefully, this is not finished. I'm not sure how many Mewtwo I even have, but I have three Mewtwo and one Mew. And as you can see that they're not really strong. So 76, 70, 41. 41 was from a trade, but the other two were from gyms. So I would have to literally be going in order to get a strong enough Mew to be battling any of these other guys that have some of the better ones. Like 40, I'm pretty sure he's probably got a 98, a 96, a 92, a 90, or above at least one in the 40. So being that he's able to just sit underneath that gym all day long, or it's right within range, that's it's great for him, but it sucks for anybody else. Like the closest gym to me, I have to actually leave my house and walk. It's actually right back here, but I have to actually walk like a 5-minute walk to get to it. The next closest gym is one that is up near where I walk to work every day. It's actually on my way to work. But again, that's a 10 or 15-minute walk as well, in order to get to that gym. Then I have to sit there and I have to hope that there's a battle going on, and then hope that I can actually go in there and win the raid and up my chances of getting that pass. But again, it's the same sort of thing when you go and like I did some travels around here, because within this area there's probably about maybe 8 or 10 gyms, and I remember when some of the cooler one, like when Rayquaza was out, I would actually like drive my scooter around and just hit sort of like 6, 7, 8, 10 of these things, right? So I was going out and I was super excited. I'm like, yes, let's go get some Rayquaza. I think they're the coolest looking Pokemon Go, by the way. But I was like, I would whip out and I would go and try to grab, as many Rayquaza as I could. But again, it's the same sort of thing. It was like, I think at the time when they first started doing gyms, it was only a 2% chance that you're getting the Pokemon out of the gym, first of all. So you're in, and you're only allowed to raid that one gym one time, right? So I was out spending money and buying the raid passes and all that kind of stuff, and I was maybe coming out within a day of 8 or 10 gyms that are within a decent amount of distance from me in a bigger city like Taipei. Two, if you're lucky, two you're out. You're able to run out with two or three of the raid bosses. I mean, it's obviously gotten better with with the more time that's sort of gone by, but it was a real grind and a real struggle. And there are a lot of people out there that don't want to spend any money on any games at all, and I get that too, which is fine. For me, it's okay. I don't mind. Because for me, it was sort of like, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. I'll spend 10, 20, $30 on some raid passes, whatever. It's fine. But um, it makes it really tough on anybody that can't spend that money or doesn't want to spend that money to actually even compete in the game. It would be the same with if you had PvP as well. But I think the guy, if they did it properly, there would be you have levels of guys that you could battle in PvP, and of course, if you do implement PvP, you'd obviously like to have benefits like your Pokemon get stronger or whatever the situation may be, right? So, I mean, for me, it was sort of just like that, where it was really hard to sort of figure out what Niantic was doing with the game itself. Um, like I said, I understand the concept. Like, I mean, even the Pokemon song has got to catch them all, right? So when I first started playing, I was under the impression that it was, oh, okay, well, basically we want to be going out there and trying to catch them all, right? I want to catch them all, catch them all, catch them all, catch them all, and do that sort of a thing with them, and that's fine and dandy and great. But when you can't go out there and catch them all, it makes the game really extremely frustrating, right? So, oh, another guy that I've actually watched a little bit is Sean Limited as well. Um, he seems to be a fairly cool guy as well. But yeah, it was mainly those three guys. I don't really watch anybody else. I've been part of Jono's discussions every once in a while. We kind of, you know, he's tends to have a really good rapport with most of his followers, which is pretty cool. Um, I don't have any moderators or anything like that on the account. I'm not going to ask you guys to pay to be a mod or anything like that. But if you want to mod it, I'm going to give this an honest go, and I'm going to try over the next coming weeks to sort of get on here and see what I can get of this. Like I said, I'm not looking to make a profit of it. I like to play. I like to grind it out a little bit anyway. So hopefully, if you guys are up for it, we can do a little bit of sort of gym battles and raids and things like that. But again, most of my time is going to be spent in Japan. So if there's anybody out there that wants to do any sort of Japan raiding, um, any sort of shiny hunting, I have a bunch of maps that I can link in the descriptions and all kinds of things like that that are for um, Japan and Tokyo and Osaka and those sort of areas. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time today. It was just sort of an introduction video. Let you know if there's going to be any interest in what my ideas are, and we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. Um, if not, just keep following Jono and his stuff and those guys. They're awesome to watch. I mean, they do a lot of really cool things. They seem to have a lot of support, which is great. So they're able to get the QR codes. I didn't get QR codes for the Yokozuna event, which for me was fine. I mean, I went in there I spoofed in there without a QR code. I didn't get any of the unknowns, um, but I did get a bunch of shiny Wingulls and shiny EV and a shiny Swablu as well. So it was a decent event even if you didn't have the QR code. Um, so yeah, I do think that Niantic is getting it to a point. They're starting to understand what people do want, um, which is great. I do think that they need to sort of just not worry so much about spoofers, because I don't think they're making that much of a difference when it comes down to it. And I'll say the same thing. Jono sort of said this as well. I think most spoofers are more willing to sort of pay money to play the game. Like I know just recently Jono had his main account suspended, which I understand why Niantic did it, but at the same time I don't know why they even spend so much time worrying about it. Obviously, when you're on YouTube and you're filming the event where they kind of expressly tell you not to, they're probably gonna step in and not be too pleased about it. But again, at the same time, I'm not sure why they spend that much time and energy worrying about it. I think that they should just let the guys play. Again, what are the real benefits of spoofing? Well, sure, they're able to catch better, stronger Pokemon, but at the end of the day, with the way the game is now, it really makes no difference. Some of the good things that spoofers do. Okay, well let's do this. Since I've been spoofing, I have been able to help more than one of my friends get regional Pokemon that they would never have been able to get. I've been able to help a lot of people finish off their Pokedex, and I think that's what most people's end game is to finish off the Pokedex. So I think that when people are out and they're grinding Pokemon Go organically, like sure, there's a few guys like, I don't even know their names. I think I just watched a video on Mystic7. He's struggling with some depression or something like that, which is very sad, and I feel bad for him for that. Doing any YouTube video stuff like this, I would imagine, is an insane grind, I would guess. And I'm sure it's not easy for anybody. There's a lot of editing and things like you can see my background. This is just a picture of a character that I actually played in it was a cosplay event at one time, and just remote controls and shit like that behind me. But it takes money to do this kind of stuff, and of course those guys put in a lot of time and effort to get where they are. I mean, what is it? Jono's got over 100,000 followers, which is amazing, right? That's 100,000 people that are kind of paying attention to him. I know FSU's got over 800,000 or something along those lines, and like I said, most of these guys are putting in the time and the effort, and I understand how it could be a real big grind for some of those guys. So, yeah, keep supporting those guys. They're the guys that are the main guys that do it. Like I said, I'm just doing it more for trying to find a bunch of people that wouldn't mind doing some gym battles with me, because it's hard for me to kind of get out and find guys to do gym stuff with me. So if there's anybody out there that is in the Japan area that likes spoofing in Japan or needs any trades, let me know. Obviously, if you're going to trade with me, you're going to have to send me your friend codes and things like that. We'll have to take some time to get our friendship levels up, so it doesn't cost us an arm and leg and Stardust. But I mean, we can definitely work out some times where we're doing some trading streams and things like that. So if anybody's out there that wants to do any trading for any of the Pokemon that they don't have, or the Pokemon that they do have, or they just want extras of, or whatever, or if you just try to finish off your decks, just let me know. I know that I'm still in search of a few Unowns. I'm in need of a few of them. I still need K, L, P, and Q, and then of course I need the exclamation points, the question marks, and all those other ones at the bottom there. But I'm still in need of 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, 9, 9 of the Unowns as well. So if there's anybody out there that's willing to trade, that wants to trade, that needs anything, maybe we can work something out. I've tried to kill you that. My catch rate on those Unowns is actually quite high. I've only seen 187. I've caught 170 of them. It's pretty decent. And of course, there's the chance at the luckies, right? So I mean, those are always a good thing that you can get if you end up getting a lucky. You can power them up. I think that was more of a thing to appease the sort of the people that were upset about the gym battles. They give you a lucky Pokemon, and you can just sort of power them up for, what is it, half Stardust or whatever it is. So again, all this kind of stuff, I've seen Niantic's trying. I just think that they're sort of doing just sort of not the right things. I think that they should be making the shinies a bit more sort of rare. So every time they have one of these events, it just seems like everyone's just piling up on them. And it makes, eventually they're going to run out of things to do, right? So eventually they're going to run out of Pokemon that they can make and bring into the game. And there's obviously going to be an end game. But if they want to kind of keep it going as long as they can, they should and they need to sort of start doing something a bit different. Whether that be PvP, or whether that is having like Pokemon Go tournaments where you can bring your guys in. But they need to, they'll obviously need to bring in more of a strategy to the game, because if it is just the way it is, there's nothing really to it. I mean, even the gym battles are just scroll to the side, scroll to the side, hit, scroll to the side, scroll to the side, hit. So I mean, they're going to have to add some sort of an element to it, whether that's maybe adding a couple of buttons, or maybe some, in order to enact your special moves at certain times, at right times, or things like that. There's got to be some sort of a strategy to it if it's going to be uber successful. So I'm not sure exactly. Obviously, I'm not a developer, and I'm not the most adversed in what the Pokemon is, or what it should be, or what a lot of hardcore guys think it should be. I am just more sort of on the path of just saying they need to do something with it. I don't know what it is, but they need to do something with it. Anyway, thanks for anybody that actually did tune in. Doesn't look like it looks like it's been me for the last 20 minutes, just sort of ranting and talking to myself. But please do give it a like and subscribe if you do need. I am going to be upping my quality. I'm going to be putting a green screen back here, and we'll be doing a little bit more sort of fun things with this. Again, I'm not really trying to get anything out of it. The way that my stream is set up, I do have like the last, the donations thing down here and all that kind of stuff. But that's just just the default stuff that I was running with through OBS. I was just trying to learn how to do it. Again, I will say again, any of the donations that do get put through will be put towards things for the actual game. So like extra baggage, extra like more additions in the Pokédex and things like that. And once that stuff's all maxed out, I'll just try and do things that are. I'll be doing some giveaways too if it gets to that point. I know that a lot of the other bigger guys do they do their $10 giveaways and stuff like that. I'll try and do a little bit better ones. Oh, some big news too. On Friday, I will be doing a stream on Friday because I've ordered the Spider-Man PS4, and I will be unboxing my Spider-Man PS4. I was a little bit upset with PlayStation 2, by the way, about this. They launched the Spider-Man PS4, which is great. It's a beautiful PS4. It's like the gloss red with just the spider on the top. It looks really sharp. But like 2 or 3 weeks after that, they go ahead and they launch that stupid 500 million PS4. And if that, I put a down payment and I pre-ordered the Spider-Man one. But if I'd have known that they were going to bring that one out, I obviously would have pre-ordered that and got that one instead. So anyway, but yeah, keep in tune. On Friday we'll be doing an unboxing of my brand new Spider-Man PS4. I am sort of a gaming nerd, sort of. I do have a whole bunch of different systems that I play on. So if you guys do want to share any of your PS4 or Xbox One, or I don't have a Switch yet, but I mean, Switch, it's just Switch. I don't know. It doesn't seem interesting to me yet. I was burnt on the Wii and the Wii U, so I'm still not overly convinced that Nintendo's going to bring out a decent system. I do like a lot of the games that are on the Switch. I mean, who doesn't like Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers and things like that? But it's just a severely underpowered system for what's available. What else is available out there? I mean, the PlayStation 4, 1 terabyte, and it's fast, and it does a lot more than a Switch does. But anyway, you guys can discuss that in the comment box and such. Been here for about almost 53 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here in a little bit. I'll go for another maybe 2 minutes, make it a 55-minute video this time around. I don't want to be doing any long grinding sessions unless we have a whole bunch of people that are sort of up and involved in doing gyms and stuff like that. So like I said, I'll keep them a little bit shorter than most of the other guys do, unless it's a big event. If it's a big event and there's a lot of people sort of watching and checking it out, then yeah, I'll definitely up the length of them and so on and so forth. But as of right now, there doesn't seem to be any luck on the grow live here. So I am going to call it a day here right away. I'll go up to this area and then I'm going to be donezo. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna try and stream when Jono's and FSU ATL stuff is over. They stream a little bit earlier, so I'll try and do the late night streams because again, I'm over here in Asia. So as you can see, if you're from the U.S. and Canada, you can see it's I guess you can't. So the camera's not going to focus, but it's a beautiful sunny day outside here today, and it's warm. I don't know if you guys can hear the fan or not. Hopefully you can. Hopefully it's not making a bad humming sound. I'll watch the video after, but yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of this every couple of days. I don't know if I'll do every day or not. We'll see how people react to it. I'll leave this video up for a couple of days, and I'll probably do another one in a couple of days to see what the reaction is and see how people sort of respond to it. But again, if there is enough people that are willing to kind of do Japan for some sort of raid stuff, we'll sort of, as you can see, this is my mystical quest for Celebi, and I've got 3 more days of flipping Pokestops. just super boring. But they had to do something. The Mewtwo one was a little bit too easy, I found. So, I mean, it was good that they made it a little bit sort of tougher, but again, at the same time, it would be nice if it was not so grindy, I guess. There's complaining on both sides. I don't really know how they're going to please everybody on these in these situations. I'll grab this one just for the extra XP and grind. Make 3 nice throws in a row. Oh, here goes that streak. Boom. All right. Raspberry, and we'll use a great ball this time around. Not even a nice one there either. Yeah. Nothing. Pineapple. See if this works. I'm not hitting any nice ones today at all. Just focus a bit, eh? I am not pro gamer at all on this one, clearly. Oh, there we go. There's a nice one. I am rook level. Streak broken. That sucks. It's going to take me a while to get that one, I figure. Oh, did I snag it? Yeah. Oh, you dirty, dirty, dirty. Any rounds? You're a douche. Shiny? Nothing. No shiny love today. I can show you guys my shiny list, so if there's anything that you guys do need on here, I can... So here's my list of shinies. I'm going to shut the stream down after this one anyway, so... As you can see, I've been pretty lucky with a lot of the shiny stuff. I did miss a few community days. Again, it was harder to get out for the community days when you're organic. Actually, I'll be very honest with you. About 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, I decided to quit Pokemon Go for the simple fact that it was too hard. It was boring for me. So I was always catching the same Pokemon on the way to work. It was always, you know, Pidgeys and Marials and just all the garbage Pokemon that nobody really wants. So I decided that I was just going to quit. And I remember that they had community days, but when they first brought out the community days, I thought it was just an opportunity to catch more of those. I didn't know about the shiny things. I wasn't really paying attention, so I missed Bulbasaur and I missed Dragonite. So there are a few shinies that I do need. So if there's anybody out there that wants to do some shiny trading, these are all the shinies that I do have. This is my main account. Again, the other accounts that I'm going to be using, they're going to be fresh, brand new, so we'll kind of struggle through together. We'll be doing a little bit of grinding to try and get our levels up as fast as we can. But I'll promise you guys what I'll do is I'll play like I played it when I was organic. I'll try and catch all the Pokemon on the nearby that I don't have in my Pokédex. And then once we kind of fill the Pokédex, we will then go through and try to get stronger ones to be battling in gyms and such. But yeah, you can see most of my shiny ones are from the newer events. I did end up with a lot of Squirtles. Ended up with a lot of Squirtles and a lot of Eevees as well. I have been a bit lucky. I do have a Wailmer. I think I have a It's not showing up on here, is it? Wailmer show up on here? I do have Wailmer. And I have 2 100% IV Whale Lords too, which is pretty awesome. I do have a Whale Lord. Yeah, there he is. Wailmer's down there. I do not have a Whale Lord, so if anybody wants to trade me a Wailmer, be cheap Stardust. So yeah, anyway, that's what the plan is. But anyway, we're creeping up here on about an hour. We'll shiny check these Growlites, and then we'll call it a day. Hopefully we snag a shiny and change my header a little bit. Nope, no luck, no luck. We've got 20 seconds and I'll wrap it up. So let's go over to one more little area where we can maybe get a little cluster spawn of oops. Clicking the play button. click my play button. We'll head over to this little this one over here where we can try to hopefully get a get one more little cluster for Growlife and see if we can snag a shiny right at the end of the stream. Let's see. There's one. Nothing. Anyway, thanks for everybody who did watch. I did see that there were 4 watchers at one point in time. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll be doing a little bit more sort of these things as it kind of goes by. I won't be doing them every day or anything like that. I'm just going to be doing them sort of as I have time to. But what I'll do is I won't play any of the accounts that I promised I'll play with you guys. So anybody that's out there that wants to sort of grind with me and just go and start a brand new account, yeah, message me. We can work it out. We can grind some stuff together. We can get again. I haven't even picked my teams for the other accounts that I'll be working. So if you guys are looking for, you know, somebody that's maybe on the same team to do some raid and gym battles and stuff like that, we can actually work it out. So just let me know. We'll do some. If we get enough people, we'll do some like private groups with the you know, they have the codes and so on and so forth, where we can just kind of go in and hopefully have 20 guys going in and doing raids on our own. I also think that would make it a little bit easier for everybody to, you know, be able to have a better sort of catch rate, maybe. Yeah, no luck on the shinies here today. I did get a Wingull on the stream, which was kind of nice, so that was a good thing. I will change the name of the stream just to see if I can't get a few more people sort of checking out the video at least. But anyway, thanks again for everybody who watched it live and who will watch this as a rerun. Thanks again, all. I'll do one more before I go, and that's it. Spin to stop. Grab the goods. Wait for spawn. And no love. Yep, no shiny left today. Let's go to that one. Maybe we'll see something. All right, last stop. Last stop is this one up here in the corner we'll go to, and then we're going to call it a day. Thanks again, everybody. Like I said, send me your player codes and all that kind of stuff, and I'll add the people to the new account, and we'll grind through and we'll make some. We'll have some fun. We'll do a little bit of. We'll have a little bit of fun. We'll grind. Hopefully, catch a bunch of shinies and a bunch of rares and things like that. So yeah, keep in touch, guys. All right, I'm out. Thanks all. Later.